Are you going to give me a cue?
It's good.
Oh, okay.
I played an evil reindeer.
I always wanted to play pretend.
Soupy Sales School of Hangers and Drama.
It's gonna be fun for me because I like talking about acting. I love acting.
Well, I actually enjoy hurt feelings.
There's a TV series called Supergirl that had a Superman. I didn't even get to read for that.
Or they're scared of me, one of the two.
But
What the hell's a monologue?
Is that Julie Andrews?
I'm passionate about that.
Again, my wig came off, and I put it back on, and it was on backwards.
Show must go on.
well, hello everybody. My name is Michael Fleming, and welcome back to Inside the Eclipse Studio. We are going to be interviewing Chris Flower today. Really looking forward to hearing all about it. Hello, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right. You could be changing your attitude about that later, but we'll see. Let's just get right to the basics. So what got you interested in acting, and how old were you when you got into it?
Well, I guess I'd always, like most kids, started with, in grade school with the puppet shows and the speeches and the little skits and things. But I went to a athletic heavy high school, football, baseball, basketball, so those first, 2 years trying to find your place, I guess. I'd played a lot of baseball as a kid and couldn't make the team at that school, and, did a year on the wrestling team, did pep squad, newspaper, all the things. And then on my third year, my junior year, I tried out for one of the plays, and at an athletic high school, there's no actors. So, well, there are, but they just don't try out for the plays. So I was able to start kind of there. They didn't turn anyone away, obviously. And I think, just those few years in high school kind of led me to search to continue on that path after, just because it was available to me and something I resonated with and was good at, I guess. So that's kind of where it started.
Did you, just out of curiosity, what was the first show?
First show I ever did was Grease.
Really?
Yeah, so it was musical, which is I've done, a handful of musicals, maybe a 15 or 20 or 15 probably most in my life. And that was, one of the first ones I had done. And I've done Grease twice, so same role.
Well, that's not a bad way to start at all. This kind of ties into the first question. Looking back on your first experience there, what would you say to an inexperienced actor or someone thinking about getting into it? What word of advice would you give them?
If you're just starting, I've always said, the more you do, the better you get, whether your talent level is high or low. It's just the quantity of projects that you work on just makes you more experienced. Experience will fill in a lot of gaps for anything. So I would say that, and in the beginning, just like some of my favorite roles were in like the chorus, and a lot of people will audition for a show and only want to be in, a lead role or something. But like, if you're just starting out, that's where you make friends and you learn things, and you get to watch and just keep observing and learn the lingo and learn how to do things. And so it's really about the more you do, the better you are, regardless of anything else.
Because you can talk about training. You basically have described that, but in your career, what's the most valuable training that you received as far as drama and acting goes? Definitely
just doing it is the number one thing. But I followed a pretty stereotypical path. I went to junior college and was in theater department there. I got my AA degree. I went to bachelor's and got my theater degree. Did a lot of theater there. Tried to go on to an MFA program in Austin, in the acting program there. Didn't work out. And then, I'm from Chicagoland. I won't say Chicago because, there's a big thing about that now. So it's Chicagoland. So I did a lot of the training, everything I could do, any class I could pick up. I did some time at Second City. I did some time with Chicago Shakespeare Rep. I did some, dinner theater, improv, everything, anything I could do. I was always doing something, whether I was working or not, just picking up, monologue classes or just little things from just so I could get a touch of what everybody was teaching. I didn't spend a long time at anywhere. Just, I wanted to do this, some of this, and then eventually made the way. Then at some point, if you're going to follow and continue to pursue, you have to pick either New York or LA, it seems like. Not so much anymore. Or if you really wanted to follow like a true theater rep, kind of path. But eventually I had to make the decision and I chose LA.
Sounds like you're willing to put yourself outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, I mean, you audition for whatever you want to do. You just kind of have to. The hardest part is just auditioning. That's really the hardest part, is getting there, doing it, dealing with the nerves and all that. And then once it's over, that's when the fun starts, if you're lucky enough to get a cast,
Right, exactly. Yeah, the audition process can be fairly brutal.
Right. It's very subjective. Like you really don't know what the director or what they're really looking for, whether even if they say what they're looking for, it may, if they see something they like that's not that, I would choose that too. If you're, it when you see it.
It's interesting what you were saying about Chicagoland, and also you have to choose, say, New York or LA. Honestly, live theater, though, there are more choices than just because Minneapolis is a real hotbed for good live.
That's true. Yeah. My college theater was based on the Guthrie Theater. It was built as a miniature version of the Guthrie. So we were very fortunate. It's it was called like a 3/4 round. So it was a really great space to learn in and to do a lot of shows in. And then when I was in Austin, the Abbey is down there. I think I did audition for something there. I don't think I got it, but yeah. And then there's, I have friends who just kind of they'll do the rep circuit, and you can do theater all over the country, really.
How did you end up here, and what got you involved in the theater in this area?
When I moved here, I moved to the Valley, and was there for a long time. And I had a friend who worked on the city council up here. He just kept talking about how great the community was up here. So he, when it came time to start looking for a house, I was looking for good school districts, with the kids, and looking for something that wasn't too far. I was still working in Burbank quite a bit. So I wanted to be close enough for that commute. That's where all my voiceover stuff was being done there. So this is only, not on without traffic, it was only a 20-minute commute for that. And plus we found a great little house in a great community and really fell in love with the city over the last, I guess we've been here 8 years or so now.
Sometimes Santa Clarita can seem so remote. To the industry.
Yes. Yeah, especially when you're trying to get people to come up to see theater, right?
Exactly. But surprisingly, there's a lot of people in the industry here.
Yes.
In the support side of the industry, as well as acting, music too, because they're here for the very reasons you just described.
But yeah, I know a lot of people up here on both tech side, and acting side that, this is where this part of the industry is. So we're still close enough. We're still in LA County. So it's all close enough for me.
How would you like to see theater evolve in Santa Clarita? What would you like to see happen here? And perhaps how would you contribute to that?
I'm looking to do more local stuff. So I recently took a job at the Main. So I'm working at the Main Theater now. Theater's kind of turned into this thing where it's an add-on now. Instead of just going to see the show as the event, it's more of a, let's go to dinner and see a play, or let's go out for your birthday and see a play, or let's go out and do this and see a musical or whatever. So, I like that. I think whatever brings people into the seats is great. But I haven't quite decided if I wanted to kind of vote for, let's push that and just get more people doing dinner and a show again. That would be great. Or if you really want to make the show the event, like if you go to the Pantages downtown, or if you go to the Amundsen, that's an event I go to, for nothing else. So I'd like to have that kind of feeling up here, let's just go to this event. That would be great. There's a lot more little startup theater companies up here that are happening that is very exciting, that it's growing. The theater community is really growing in Santa Cruz. It's wonderful. So I think we continue to, provide venues. I really also was just talking about this. I would love to get more awareness of the theater in kind of the north side of town, up, and bring it down here to where, Santa Cruz seems more arts heavy in the southern part. So I would love to somehow pull or push either way, theater up into the entire area.
And the dinner and show thing seems to be working in downtown Newhall, in my
Yes.
humble opinion, right now.
Yes.
It's actually kind of exciting. You've got music here, food here, theater here,
Mhm.
everything that they wanted to see happen for the last 20 years
Right.
is happening.
Right.
And a wide demographic of ages and people that we see walking down there. So I would say for me, it's getting kind of becoming exciting.
So I would love to see more of that, kind of even more spread out up into Bridgeport area, up into, even into Saugus Canyon country. There's, there's plenty of spaces. It's just about finding people and groups to kind of take them on, that I'm sure it's financial, burden, but there's, this is a big valley in itself too, and there's a lot of people, and they're all can't fit on Newhall Main Street. We'd like them to. They can try. They can come down.
So if you don't mind me asking, what are you going to be doing at the Main?
At the Main, I'm working. I picked up some house manager job there, doing that, and also my theater company will be doing a show in April as part of their program. April 2022. That's when the new season comes up. So I know I'll be doing another one of my plays there.
And Chris, it's perfectly all right for you to say the names of those shows that are going to be happening.
Okay, all right. So my theater, the theater company that I am a part of is the Big Sandwich Theater Company. This will be our third production that I've written, co-wrote with Wade Bradford. And this particular one is called Sugar and Spies. The Big Sandwich Theater Company obviously deals with the missions kind of to focus on full-length comedic plays, all original works that we take from blank page to full production, so this will be our third. We actually wrote two during COVID, so we actually have the next one locked up, ready to go too, for 2023. We're trying to limit ourselves to one, but if a spot opens up for us to do it early, we will. But it seems like we're doing one a year. The first play we did was called Change the Station. Second one was called All Inclusive. The first one has been published. The second one's out for publication, and we hope to, continue. As soon as the third one gets produced, we hope to move that one along too. We actually had a space for Sugar and Spies in September of 2020. I think that's when it was scheduled to go up, and then of course it got pushed 2 years because of COVID. And we actually had a meeting, some of the members of Big Sandwich, Wade and Sonia Arnold and I, to talk about, a lot was done in the virtual realm, but we met on it. We talked hard on it about, just virtual theater was not for us, especially in the comedy realm. And we really felt that we were just gonna not pursue any kind of virtual performance of any kind. And it was hard because there was a lot of it going on, and kudos to everyone who put things forward. It just wasn't for us.
Is there a play, or more specifically, a dream role that you would love to perform?
If I ever get back into musicals, some of my favorite roles, I loved Arthur in Camelot, and I loved Don Quixote in Man of La Mancha, but I can't decide if I want to go. I haven't had to sing in like 15 years or so, so I don't even know if that part of me still works. So but as far as a play, I'm enjoying writing, because when we write the plays, we have a a troupe of actors. So we have a group of actors we use continually. So it's kind of like the Carol Burnett show where you have the same actors and you just put them in different roles. So I'm enjoying, kind of writing roles for myself. I know that's very selfish, but that's fun. So I've always wanted to play the type of role is kind of a more thing. I've always wanted to play a psychiatrist on stage. I've never got to get that kind of cerebral. So I'm looking for plays with psychiatrists in them.
Huh, interesting parallel between writing and psychiatry and acting. I would think they're all definitely related.
Well, it can be funny though too. Like you can have the real funny psychiatrist things going wrong at the funny farm. That stuff happens. When I was in college, I Hate Hamlet was a play that was very popular that everyone was doing the monologues for auditions for, and I don't think that's even been done up here or anywhere. I haven't heard the name in a long time, so I picked it up to read again. So that's a role I'd like to play. It's the John Barrymore role. It's amazingly funny. It's a great comedy. I picked up this little play called Seven Stories. That seems like a very simple set, and it seems like that's something, if I wanted to actually direct something that I did not write, I was thinking that would be fun to direct. So I picked that up to read. And the musicals in this area are becoming more and more popular. So like those comedy plays that are kind of like in my wheelhouse that I like to do, they become fewer and far between, which is kind of why we're writing our own and doing them ourselves. But
what's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you on stage?
There's always, when you do comic plays, which are more sketch comedy, not like improv. I guess, I was doing, when I came to LA, I was doing improv down at Improv Olympic, which when it was down on Santa Monica Boulevard, downtown. And I was on a team. I wasn't taking classes there. We just I knew a bunch of people who went through Improv Olympic as opposed to me who went through Second City. So a bunch of us moved out together, and when we were doing just some sketch. It was just like a competition sketch comedy, teams versus teams kind of thing. And I remember I hadn't done improv in I don't know. I hadn't been on stage doing improv in like a year, maybe a year and a half. And so I remember one night specifically that just, I don't know what we did. We were doing, because improv is crazy. And I remember that there was something I did. I just kind of did a single pass across stage, said something funny. And then we had to pause because the audience when those audience starts rolling and laughing and no one can say anything for that good 2 minutes, that I remember the night and I remember where we were and I remember the moment. And that was back in early, 2000s as well, 2001, maybe 2002. So I remember that, because improv is like that, you remember moments, but you don't remember specifics.
Well, in baseball parlance, that's a home run.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, and there's been plenty of strikeouts too. So that's the truth about the improv for sure.
So who's your favorite actor or actress?
I've been asked that question a lot, like who do I look up to, like, but all actors are different and everybody's got their own thing. And, I'm not them and they're not me, but we all share the same drive and the same, it's just heartbreaking if someone who's really talented just kind of gets beat down and stops, and that's, so I've changed that answer from like a Harrison Ford to, or Brad Pitt to like anybody who's doing it, and keeps doing it. Well,
it sounds to me like you're not starstruck and it's not about celebrity, it's about working.
There's a lot of old jokes. One of them is like, would you like this role? And it's like, is the money green? Yeah, I'll take it. That's kind of what you say, especially like when you audition and, I'm still, we're those of us with agents that are working hard for us and still sending us auditions and, you still audition, but you just kind of do them and then you have to put them out of their mind. They just kind of, you can't dwell on that stuff. And it just kind of goes, it's just a cycle. You just kind of do it, forget it and move on to the next thing, because that's an easy way to get a, kind of an actor's death is like really just vest on every audition because you're not going to get them all. And then that'll drag you down pretty quickly.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground and very well, I might add. So, all right, what's the worst accent you do?
I grew up on Inspector Clouseau, so French is pretty. It's pretty that stupid Inspector Clouseau accent. I'm actually going to be doing Russian in my next upcoming play. That's not bad. I don't think it's bad, but it's not great, but it's passable. And I always started with my Cockney is not really Cockney anymore. They've all kind of merged into this European whatever it is. So my Brits are all the same, and sometimes I'll try to do Scottish, it'll come out as Irish, and all that stuff happens. So I would say they're all kind of a big mushball right now.
Yeah, it's a challenge to not have them weave in together. I remember in my youth I played Sakini,
Mm-hmm.
the House of the August Moon,
Mm-hmm.
and my best friend was Japanese, and it was a large family, and they never stopped giving me grief about my accent.
Well, the thing with accents is the more subtle you can be with them, the better it is. You just do a little bit of it, don't do a big of it, because the bigger you get, the more kind of it shows its flaws.
Well, Chris, thank you so much.
Sure.
As I said earlier, I'm just impressed with your attitude about the business and your cohorts about creating your own vehicles for production. That's great.
Yeah. Well, what if we were? Yeah. I mean, you have to think about if you really love it or like to do it. What if you were in the middle of North Dakota somewhere, or in the middle of some farm or something? What would you do? You'd have to make your own. Or if you were in somewhere in western Wyoming, you just have to you'd have to make your own. So that doesn't change whether you're in a major metropolitan area or out in the wilderness.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Chris. Once again, we are inside the Eclipse studio. My name is Mike Fleming, and particularly enjoyable today. We've been talking to Chris Flowers, and hope we meet again on the boards or something like that.
Yes, we will. That would be great.
All right. You take care.
All right. Thanks, Mike.